Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we are heading far, far off the volcanic ridges of the Eastern Pacific, straight into an environment so incredibly extreme, it is forcing us to completely rethink the very boundaries of biology. You see, a recent expedition just made a thrilling deep-sea discovery, uncovering what is essentially a secret, alien world, quite literally hidden beneath the ocean floor. To truly appreciate the sheer magnitude of this, I want you to picture the environment we're actually talking about here. We are plunging deep, deep beneath the surface, all the way down into the pitch-black depths where sunlight simply never reaches. Now, for the longest time, we thought of the seabed as, well, a relatively barren, solid endpoint. But this begs a massive, fascinating question. What exactly is hiding beneath that ocean floor? What happens when you look under the surface of the seabed itself, peering into these dark, isolated spaces that have been sealed off from the rest of the ocean? Well, the journey to answer that question started with an incredible team of researchers from the Schmidt Ocean Institute, based out of Palo Alto, California. They deployed a remotely operated submersible, basically a highly advanced underwater robot, to explore this uncharted territory. But here's the crazy part. They didn't just look at the seabed, they physically interacted with it. The team actually used the sub to lift heavy, rocky slabs right off the ocean floor. And when they did, they didn't just find more dirt or solid rock. No, they exposed gaping cave entrances that had been completely sealed off for who knows how long. They essentially opened a door to a hidden underground or, I guess, under seabed ecosystem. Section 1. Meet the giant tube worms. Okay, let's dive into this. When the researchers peered into these newly opened caves, they found them literally crawling with enormous marine worms. And when I say enormous, I mean they were finding worms capable of growing up to 20 inches. That's about 50 centimeters long. Just imagine lifting a heavy rocky slab in the absolute pitch black of the deep ocean and finding a thriving, packed community of massive, towering worms living inside an enclosed cave system. It's wild. To give this spectacle the scientific weight it absolutely deserves, the specific creatures we're looking at are called Riftia pactitila. They are a deeply fascinating species of polychaete, though you've probably heard them called giant tube worms. What makes them so incredibly special is their ability to not just live, but completely thrive in extreme, highly isolated deep-sea environments. Against all odds, they are surviving in total darkness, locked away in an underwater cave system. Section 2. Surviving in total darkness. And this brilliantly illustrates a massive biological paradox. You know, normal ocean life relies heavily on sunlight for photosynthesis to drive the entire food web. But these tube worms, they completely flip that model on its head. Living in absolute, unyielding darkness, they don't consume typical organic matter like other animals. They literally eat chemicals. The contrast between your typical ocean survival and this bizarre subterranean reality is just staggering. So how on earth is that even possible? It all comes down to a highly specialized, absolutely extraordinary partnership. These giant tube worms have evolved to host chemosynthetic bacteria. These bacteria act almost like a built-in internal power plant. They take inorganic substances, basically raw chemicals bubbling up from the Earth's crust, and draw nutrients directly from them to sustain the worms. Sunlight is entirely removed from the equation. It's a perfect self-sustaining loop of life driven purely by the extreme chemistry of the deep ocean. Section 3. The secret thermal sanctuary. But you know, that still leaves us with a pretty major question. Why huddle in these hidden cave networks instead of just living out on the open seabed? Well, because these caves aren't just convenient hiding places. They are actual climate-controlled sanctuaries. The researchers discovered that the water inside these enclosed cave systems stays at a remarkably stable 75 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 24 degrees Celsius. The open sea right outside those rocks is subject to harsh, extreme thermal swings. By retreating into these sealed caves, these organisms are completely protected from those violent temperature fluctuations. It is literally a stable, warm oasis right in the middle of a cold, incredibly unpredictable ocean deep. I really think this quote from Sabine Gallner, the co-lead of the expedition, captures the true awe of this discovery perfectly. She noted, "It's fascinating to see how animals adapt to such extreme conditions." And she is absolutely right. It perfectly highlights the sheer, stubborn resilience of life. The environment down there is objectively hostile, yet life didn't just find a way to barely scrape by. It adapted perfectly to construct a thriving, perfectly stable ecosystem beneath the rocks. Section 4. Redefining life on Earth. Now, this isn't just a quirky discovery about some unusually large worms. To fully grasp the broader implications, which were outlined in a recent Nature communication study, we have to connect this new cave discovery back to decades of existing research on hydrothermal vents. Think of hydrothermal vents as underwater hot springs scattered across the ocean floor. We have known for a while now that these vents host dense bacterial communities in complete darkness, where those bacteria turn chemicals into energy, supporting specialized creatures right around the vents themselves. But finding this complex web of life actually living inside isolated, enclosed spaces beneath the seabed, wow, that adds an entirely new layer to the biological puzzle. So the crucial point is really captured in these three key takeaways from the study. First, life can clearly flourish in total extreme isolation, even when it's completely sealed beneath the ocean floor. Second, stable environments, like those constant 75-degree cave temperatures, are exactly what allow larger, much more complex organisms like our giant tube worms to survive in places we previously thought were far too hostile. And third, chemosynthesis is a wildly effective replacement for sunlight, allowing entire bustling ecosystems to thrive purely on the Earth's deep chemical energy. Ultimately, this completely rewrites our understanding of exactly where and how life can be sustained on this planet. If complex life can adapt to live in sealed, pitch-black, chemical-filled caves completely beneath the ocean floor, what else is out there? This discovery strongly suggests that these caves could be hiding much, much more than just worms. It leaves us with a truly fascinating question to ponder as we wrap up today. What other undocumented marine species are currently hiding in secret underwater chambers, completely unknown to science, just waiting for us to lift the right rock? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep your curiosity alive.